Who's going to win the 2020 NBA Finals MVP? That's what's at stake. LeBron James or Anthony Davis? Listen, as of right now, it's only one game into the series. I don't know about you, after seeing game one, to me, this thing is over. Listen, I initially predicted that this was going to be a long 6 or 7 game series. I'll stand on it, I was dead wrong. This thing has no chance of going past game 5 at the most. I'll give Miami Heat one game. But the LeBron James and the Anthony Davis-led Lakers, they are looking like an absolute juggernaut. Keep in mind, they've only lost 3 games all playoffs long. That's 1 game to Portland, 1 to Houston, and 1 to the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. So now that they're in the NBA Finals and they're up 1-0, I don't expect them to lose more than 1 game at this point. Not after seeing game 1 and how they steamrolled the Miami Heat. Keep in mind, they were down 13 points to begin that game. It was 23-10. Then they called the timeout. And from that point on, they went on a 75-30 run. Think about that. 75-30 run. That's a 45-point difference to turn a 13-point deficit into a 32-point lead. It was out of hand, man. And it's not just about the score, because ultimately, Miami Heat, they wound up starting strong and ending strong. It was about the way that the Lakers played. The dominance that we saw from a LeBron James and an Anthony Davis, which leads me to think these two right here are battling against each other for the Finals MVP. It's usually you see the best player from one team, the best player from another team, kind of jockeying for that Finals MVP position. That's not the case in this year's Finals. The Finals MVP will be decided between one of those 2 megastars. So who's gonna be? LeBron James or Anthony Davis? On this trend, I'm gonna be breaking down both of the chances that LeBron and Anthony Davis have to win the Finals MVP, and we're going to take a deep dive into not only just Game 1, but also Game 2, which is coming on tonight as the Lakers look to go up 2-0, and Miami Heat, they're trying to just even the series at 1-1. Let's get into it.
Are you ready?
Welcome back to Journey of a Ballaholic, the best talk show for basketball addicts. I'm your host, General Hannibal X. Now, if you're new on this channel here, you're going to be getting my passionate and in-depth analysis on the hottest NBA and college basketball topics. Listen, I'm a ballaholic, absolutely addicted to basketball. And just like everybody, I got my own opinions. But if you like opinions that are backed by facts, go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, but also hit that join now button. I got a new members only section where we're talking about exclusive live Q&A sections. We got a new series called Cooking with the General, where I'm prepping, I'm cooking, and I'm talking all things basketball. We're going over the NBA draft, all season, trades, free agency, everything, you name it. So go ahead below, hit that join now button, and sign up now. Okay, man, listen, we got game 2 tonight. The Lakers versus the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals. And I don't know about you, but after seeing game 1, I can admit this thing is an absolute mismatch. And this is before the injuries to Goran Dragic, the shoulder injury to Bam Adebayo, and even the torn ankle to Jimmy Butler. Listen, Miami's dealing with a lot of injuries right now, and we're not sure exactly who's going to play or who's going to be out tonight. But one thing I know for sure, the Lakers are healthy, the Lakers are locked, they're loaded, and they are ready to roll. Listen, this team right here, they're playing on a historic level, man. What we're seeing right now, not just from the stars, and we'll get into the stars in a bit, but even guys like Rajon Rondo played good. Even guys like KCP is stepping up and playing good. Danny Green was looking like old Danny Green on both ends of the court. I think he wanted to have like 2 steals, 3 blocks, like hitting threes. Like Danny Green was finally there and showed why they paid $15 million to bring him to the Lakers. Dwight Howard out there beasting everybody on the glass, right? So this is what you wanted to see. This is what we thought we were going to see from the Lakers. But the Lakers are led by their big 2, LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And when it comes down to that Finals MVP, it's going to be one of them 2. Like, keep in mind, this is one of the things that I talked about in one of my previous videos, but it still reigns true today. The Lakers right now are trying to become the 4th team over the last 40 years since 1980, just the 4th team to have not 1 but 2 players make the first team All-NBA and also go on to win the championship in the same season. Go back. You got to go back into 2002 was the last time it happened with the Diesel, Shaquille O'Neal, and Kobe Bean Bryant. You go back to 1996 with the GOAT, Jordan himself, and Scottie Pippen. Then you got to go back to the early 80s with Moses Malone and Dr. J. Those are the only 3 duos to ever be first team All-NBA and win the championship in the same season. I say all that to say, LeBron and Davis could become the fourth duo to do that. Listen, after game 1 of the NBA Finals, that was the 7th time that we've seen LeBron James and Anthony Davis both score 25 plus points and both shoot over 50+% from the field. Think about that. 7 times they've done it already in the playoffs. That's an NBA playoff history record. Like, we're talking about all the greatest duos of all time. They've never had that many games of scoring 25 plus points and both being able to score over 50% from the field, man. Like, the Miami Heat have no answer for these guys. Coming into the series, I talked about that. Bam Adebayo cannot guard Anthony Davis. Jimmy Butler cannot guard. They can be in front of them. They can't stop them. That's just the bottom line. Denver had no answer for him. Houston, the Portland Trailblazers, I don't care. There's no team in the NBA that's built today that has an answer for both of those guys. You may be able to slow one, maybe. We haven't seen it yet, but you may be able to slow one. No team can stop both. And right now, these two juggernauts are out there going head-to-head against each other for who's going to be the Finals MVP. So as of right now, as of today, as we're heading into Game 2 tonight, I've decided to go ahead and start doing an MVP race. And we're going to track this thing because, once again, it's a two-man race between LeBron and Anthony Davis. So who's leading thus far after Game 1? Well, let's take a look at the stats. When you break it down, looking at Game 1 statistics, Anthony Davis led the team in scoring. LeBron James led the team in rebounding and in assists. Anthony Davis led the team in blocks, but LeBron James led the team in steals. Now, that's just the 5 major statistical categories, but you also got to look a little bit deeper than that. Look at the field goal percentage. LeBron James had the lead there just slightly. They were both tied in the three-point percentage, where they both shot 2 for 4, but Anthony Davis edged LeBron when it comes to free throw percentage. Also, turnovers, Anthony Davis edged LeBron James there, and when it came to plus minus, Anthony Davis was at plus 23 compared to LeBron James plus 10. Now listen, both of these guys were great. There is no question about that, and this is a close, I'm talking about a crystal clear close race between LeBron and Davis for this MVP. But after Game 1, after just seeing 4 quarters, 48 minutes of action, I gotta put Anthony Davis just slightly ahead of LeBron James. And I get it. LeBron almost had a triple-double. He was one assist away from getting a triple-double. But the reality is, the totality of the game, Anthony Davis was the better player for the majority of that game. Like when the Lakers went on that run, that 75-30 run, it was Anthony Davis that was the better player for the Lakers during the run. I think he had 23 of those 75 points. So I think LeBron James only scored 12 of those 75 points. And I think he had like 3 assists to go along with that as well. Now, I get it. A lot of people may say, listen, it really doesn't matter who's going to be the Finals MVP because whether it's Davis, whether it's LeBron James, they're on the same team. And listen, as a Laker fan, I'll be honest with you. I really agree with you. It doesn't matter who wins the Finals MVP from the Laker fan standpoint because as long as the Lakers win, that's the 17th title we tie the Boston Celtics for the most NBA championships of all time. However, not only am I a Laker fan, I'm also an NBA fan. And not only that, I'm also an NBA historian. And I study these things, and those of us who do look back on the history of the NBA, we understand that this Finals MVP, it actually matters. When you're talking about ranking players in the all-time greatest list, there's 2 races that both of these players find themselves in. Listen, be very clear. If LeBron James, if Anthony Davis, if Kuzma, Rondo, it doesn't matter. If any of those guys win it, I'm happy. Understood. But if Anthony Davis wins this Finals MVP, he starts to rise up that all-time power forward list. See, keep in mind, the greatest power forward of all time, in my opinion, and in a lot of experts' opinion, is Tim Duncan, the big fundamental. He's got 5 championships, right? He's got 3 Finals MVPs. And what separates him from guys like Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, 2 of the greatest power forwards to ever play the game, are rings. Not just rings, but Finals MVPs. Dirk Nowitzki was able to get a Finals MVP. Dirk Nowitzki is the only other power forward in NBA history other than Tim Duncan to get the Finals MVP. So that's a big feat for Anthony Davis if he was to get it to become the 3rd power forward in NBA history. And now starting to climb up that ranking of being a champion and a Finals MVP, that means a lot. Now, for LeBron James, now we already know the ghost that he's chasing. He's chasing the ghost of number 23 from Chicago, the GOAT himself, Michael Jordan. And I've said before, and I'm going to go on record of saying it again. If and when the Lakers win this championship, and be very clear, I'm a Kobe Bryant fan from day one. He's my favorite player of all time. Currently, I rank Kobe in my top 5, and I also rank LeBron in my top 5. But I've got Kobe ahead of LeBron as of today. If and when the Lakers win this championship, LeBron will catapult not only Kobe Bryant, he's going to catapult the other guys in front of LeBron in that top 5, guys like Kareem, guys like Wilt. To me, he's going to then become number 2 all time, sitting only behind Michael Jeffrey Jordan. So LeBron's chasing a ghost that's not even in the game anymore, right? He's chasing history. Anthony Davis is trying to create history, trying to start his own legacy as a guy that not only can be a champion, right? But not only a guy that can perform on the big stage. Because think about this, what Anthony Davis did in Game 1, that was big time. Like, there's only been 3 guys, 3 in the history of the game that had that scored more points during their playoff finals debut than Anthony Davis. That's Allen Iverson, who has the #1 highest scoring total for a finals debut with 48 points. You have Michael Jordan and Kevin Durant. We're talking about 3 of the greatest scorers of all time. Jordan and Durant are tied at 36 points that they scored in their opening debut. Well, Anthony Davis now sits in 4th with 34 points scored. So to come up with that kind of opening, that says a lot. So Anthony Davis is already showing he's a champion. He's showing he can perform on the big stage. Now the question is, how far can he rise, right? How much does this really mean? And we've heard LeBron recently come out and say one of the things that makes LeBron and Anthony Davis such a great duo is the fact that there's no jealousy between these two. These two are really like friends, like brothers, right? And you can see it on and off the court. So this isn't I'm not necessarily putting these two against each other to say they're going at each other. I mean, because LeBron would be just as happy for Davis if he won, and vice versa. So this is a thing that we do as fans, and we're gonna really have to analyze this thing. Game 2's tonight, and I think whoever has the better game is gonna have the leg up in this Finals MVP. Once again, as of today, as of just 1 game being played, I do have Anthony Davis slightly ahead of LeBron James. But we have at least 3 more games left before the series is over, and a lot can change. So with that being said, who do you think is the Finals MVP thus far? Are you going with LeBron or are you going with Anthony Davis? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, do you give any chance to the Miami Heat to win more than a game? We're not even gonna talk about the win in the series. Do you give Miami Heat any chance to win more than 1 game? Like, can this thing even go 6 games? Let me know in the comment section below. Now, before we go, I do have to touch on this because this is some late breaking news. Now, for those who missed it, I did my first YouTube live video yesterday, so some of you may have already heard some of this content, but while we were talking yesterday, we had some breaking news that the former Boston Celtics coach, the former LA Clippers coach, Doc Rivers, has just found himself a new job, back in the East with the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, joining the Sixers, this is a team that's got some work to do. So adding Doc, who's a championship coach, is not gonna solve this situation, because you got 2 stars who, in my opinion, don't really fit perfectly together. Can they work? They could. Maybe he's a better coach, definitely a better coach than Brett Brown. I don't think there's any question. Nobody's going to question if Doc is a better coach than Brett Brown. But is Doc a good enough coach to get this Sixers team over the hump? We got to see. I mean, the East, as we know, is going to be loaded. But I think it was a very interesting hire because Joel Embiid is a legit big man. But Ben Simmons is no slouch. He is one of the best on-ball defenders. He's a triple threat monster. He's got shooting woes, right? So the question for this offseason, and the video I'll be doing in the offseason coming up, is who should the Sixers trade? Should they trade Ben? Should they trade Embiid? Or should they run it back with both of them together and try to bring on a 3rd star? And if so, what could some of these different options look like? So make sure you stick around. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and make sure you click the logo right here. If you've missed any of my previous videos, click the box right here. Until next time, make sure you stay safe in the streets. And remember, we still demand justice for Breonna Taylor and Jacob Blake. Peace.